Hi, it's Keith from the Evangelical Free Church, Stony Stratford, and we're continuing our series of short talks in the Gospel of Luke. And today we come to Luke 13, verses 10 to 17. Jesus is teaching in one of the synagogues, and there's a woman who has been crippled for 18 years. It said that she'd been crippled by a spirit. She was bent over and she could not straighten up at all. And so, in between, or maybe in a break in the preaching, Jesus heals her. But not everyone is impressed. Sometimes you feel that people are making a point just to make a point. Not really because they're trying to educate or anything, they're trying to get one up on you. And this seems to be what happens here. Whereas the woman is delighted that she's been healed, and it says she immediately straightened up and praised God, we read this in verse 14. Indignant because Jesus had healed on the Sabbath, the synagogue ruler said to the people, "There are 6 days for work, so come and be healed on those days, not on the Sabbath." This synagogue leader quotes the law, but note how he does it. Actually, when you analyse it, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Because who was going to heal on those other 6 days? There was no guarantee Jesus was going to be there, and there doesn't seem to be any indication the synagogue leader could heal this woman. So Jesus responds to this. Verse 15, the Lord answered him, "You hypocrites, doesn't each of you on the Sabbath untie his ox or donkey from the stall and lead it out to give it water? Then should not this woman, a daughter of Abraham, who Satan has kept bound for 18 long years, be set free on the Sabbath day from what bound her?" One of the things in the law was there was a lot about care. And actually, Jesus uses his example quite cleverly here. There was a lot about care for animals. You only have to look up in Deuteronomy 22, 1 and 2. It talks about care for animals. And in Deuteronomy 25, verse 4, it talks about not muzzling the ox when it's treading grain. Animals were to be looked after. Well, if that's the case, why can't people? And why can't this woman, who Jesus clearly sees as a believer, get better treatment? Or indeed, the same treatment, as it were? Why should she suffer any longer? Did you notice what it said there? Set free. I don't think that a believer can actually be possessed by Satan, but they can be oppressed by Satan. We live in a fallen and damaged world. It's damaged because of mankind's sin. Hence, nasty things and illnesses do happen. But Jesus says, what I want to demonstrate to you is the importance of the value of people before God. Verse 17, when he said this, all his opponents were humiliated, but the people were delighted with all the wonderful things he was doing. It's interesting that, isn't it? There's 2 reactions. There's the synagogue leader who is steeped in religion. Do you know, sometimes I've been talking to people, happened just the other day, and as I was giving them a leaflet, they went, "Evangelical church? We're church of whatever." Isn't that a shame? Aren't we Christians first? Or do we have to be known by our denomination? When people would say to me, "What denomination are you?" I would always say to start, I'm a Christian first and foremostly, and will recognise other Christians. But this person was steeped in religion, and so they were so bothered about that. Labels, and indeed, as their synagogue leader was, he was so steeped in it that he really wanted to be legalistic about the law rather than understanding the spirit of the law. You see, in the end, Jesus goes to the spirit of the law. In the letter that James writes to some early Christian churches, he says this. This is chapter 1, verse 27 of the book of James. Religion that God our Father accepts as pure and faultless is this: to look after orphans and widows in their distress, and to keep oneself from being polluted by the world. Did you notice that? We are to live lives that please God, that are contrary to the world's teaching, which always puts number one first and is all about self. And out of that come the actual actions and works that will benefit others. Thank you so much for listening.